What if I told you that one of the most expensive purchases you'll ever make isn't a house? It isn't a luxury car. It isn't even a designer watch. It's the desperate need to look successful. Every day, millions of people spend money they haven't earned to impress people they barely know, while quietly sacrificing the one thing that actually creates wealth: financial freedom. We've been taught that success should be visible, that if you don't look rich, you're falling behind. But what if the modern lifestyle isn't a reward? What if it's a trap? A trap that keeps ordinary people working harder, borrowing more, and saving less, all in pursuit of an image that disappears the moment the next trend arrives. And no story captures this hidden cost better than the story of one young man named Daniel. Daniel was only 26 years old. If you had visited his Instagram profile, you would have thought he had life completely figured out. Luxury dinners, weekend vacations, a sleek black car, perfectly tailored suits, the newest iPhone, coffee shops with marble tables, airport selfies, five-star hotels. Every photo screamed one message: I've made it. Friends admired him. Former classmates envied him. Even strangers wished they had his life. But every single night, before going to bed, Daniel opened a different app, not Instagram, his banking app. And every night, he stared at the same number, minus $18,462. Credit card debt, car loan, buy now, pay later payments, an overdraft checking account, and rent due in 5 days. The young man everyone wanted to become could barely afford groceries. Because the truth was simple: Daniel wasn't building wealth. He was renting an image, and that image was costing him everything. Daniel grew up in an ordinary neighborhood. His parents weren't rich. His father worked long shifts. His mother carefully planned every grocery trip. Vacations were rare. Birthdays were simple. Money wasn't abundant, but there was always enough. As a child, Daniel never cared about expensive things. Then something changed. He got his first smartphone. Suddenly, his world became much bigger. Every morning, someone his age was driving a Lamborghini. Someone else was buying a Rolex. Another influencer was flying first class. Another entrepreneur was showing off a penthouse overlooking the ocean. It looked like everyone, except Daniel, was winning. What Daniel didn't realize was that social media wasn't showing reality. It was showing highlights. The best moments, the rented cars, the borrowed watches, the filtered lives. But to an 18-year-old trying to figure out adulthood, it all looked real. Slowly, without even noticing, Daniel stopped asking, "How can I become successful?" Instead, he started asking, "How can I look successful?" That tiny change in thinking would quietly reshape the next 8 years of his life. At 21, Daniel landed his first corporate job. Nothing extraordinary, just a decent entry-level salary. When his first paycheck arrived, he promised himself he'd be responsible, save money, build an emergency fund, invest. His parents smiled proudly. His father gave him one piece of advice: "Son, don't spend tomorrow's money today." Daniel nodded. He meant every word. But then, his co-workers invited him to lunch. Not just any lunch, an expensive rooftop restaurant. The bill came. Everyone paid without hesitation. Daniel didn't want to look cheap, so he paid too. The next week, they bought designer shoes. Daniel bought designer shoes. They upgraded to the newest phone. Daniel upgraded too. They talked about luxury apartments. Soon, Daniel moved into one, not because he needed it, because it matched the image he wanted people to see. Each purchase felt small. "I deserve this. Everyone else has one. It's only another $45 a month. I'll make more money later." One payment became 5. 5 became 10. Without realizing it, Daniel wasn't spending dollars anymore. He was spending pieces of his future. 2 years later, Daniel got promoted. His salary increased by almost 30%. He was thrilled. Finally, he could breathe, or so he thought. But something strange happened. Instead of saving the extra income, his lifestyle expanded. A nicer apartment, a newer car, premium subscriptions, luxury gym membership, weekend trips, expensive dinners, designer sunglasses, wireless earbuds, another smartwatch. Every raise disappeared almost as quickly as it arrived. Economists have a name for this: lifestyle inflation. The more you earn, the more you convince yourself you need. Daniel never felt richer because every increase in income was matched by an increase in expenses. It was like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much water you poured in, it never stayed full. One evening, Daniel noticed an old college friend posting pictures of a brand new luxury SUV. A week later, another friend announced they had bought a house. Someone else was vacationing in Dubai. Someone had just gotten engaged at a 5-star resort. Daniel felt something he couldn't quite explain. Not happiness for them, not exactly jealousy, just pressure. Pressure to keep up, pressure to prove he wasn't falling behind. So he made another purchase, then another, each one bringing a brief moment of satisfaction, followed by an even greater feeling of emptiness. Because the truth about status is cruel. There will always be someone with a bigger house, a newer car, a more expensive watch, or a more glamorous vacation. When your happiness depends on impressing others, you'll never cross the finish line. Because the race has no end. He smiles for Instagram, but the smile slowly fades as the notifications appear. Car payment due. Credit card payment due. Rent due. Daniel stares silently at the screen. For the first time, he begins to wonder if the life everyone envies is actually becoming a prison. What Daniel doesn't know yet is that the most expensive thing he'll ever own isn't his car. It isn't his apartment. It isn't his designer clothes. It's the image he's trying so desperately to protect. There is something nobody tells you about pretending to be rich. Eventually, you stop pretending to other people and start pretending to yourself. Daniel kept telling himself everything was under control. It's just temporary. My next raise will fix it. I'll pay everything off later. But later never came. Instead, the bills kept arriving. Daniel was earning more money than anyone in his family ever had. Yet somehow, he had less financial freedom than his parents. Every month followed the same routine. His salary arrived. For a brief moment, he felt rich. Then reality took over. Rent, car payment, credit card minimums, insurance, phone financing, streaming subscriptions, gym membership, dining out, online shopping, coffee, weekend trips. Before the middle of the month, almost every dollar had already been assigned to someone else. His paycheck wasn't his. It belonged to the lifestyle he had created. He wasn't working to build wealth anymore. He was working to maintain appearances. And maintaining appearances is one of the most expensive jobs in the world. Debt doesn't usually feel dangerous at first. In fact, it often feels empowering. A new phone today, pay later. A luxury watch, monthly installments. A vacation, 0 interest for 12 months. Everything seems affordable when you only look at the monthly payment. Daniel stopped asking, "How much does this cost?" Instead, he asked, "Can I afford the monthly payment?" That simple shift changed everything. Soon, his entire life was financed. Even when he wasn't spending, he was already paying. Every month, he was buying yesterday's decisions, and tomorrow's paycheck had already been spent. Without realizing it, Daniel had become financially trapped. Not because he earned too little, but because he owed too much. Money problems rarely stay in your wallet. Eventually, they move into your mind. Daniel stopped sleeping well. Every unexpected phone call made him nervous. Every email notification raised his heart rate. He avoided checking his bank account. He ignored credit card statements. He smiled less. He laughed less. Even simple moments with friends became stressful. Whenever someone suggested going out, his first thought wasn't, "That sounds fun." It was, "Can I afford this?" Ironically, the expensive lifestyle that promised happiness was quietly stealing his peace. Then, the unexpected happened. The company announced layoffs. Business had slowed. Departments were shrinking. Daniel wasn't fired, but his overtime disappeared. His annual bonus was canceled. Suddenly, his carefully balanced financial house of cards collapsed. Without the extra income, he couldn't keep up. Credit card balances grew. Interest charges increased. Collection calls started. One afternoon, his debit card was declined while buying groceries. People stood behind him in line. He quietly apologized, put several items back, and walked out carrying only the essentials. For the first time in years, he realized something. He owned expensive things, but he couldn't comfortably afford basic necessities. That evening, Daniel looked around his apartment. Everything he once dreamed of owning was finally his. The luxury watch, the designer wardrobe, the premium furniture, the latest gadgets. Yet, he had never felt poorer. He looked into the mirror, not at his clothes, not at his watch, at himself. And he asked a question he had avoided for years. Who was I trying to impress? The room was silent, because deep down, he already knew the answer. He had spent years chasing the approval of people who were too busy chasing someone else's approval. Sometimes, the greatest financial breakthrough doesn't begin with earning more money. It begins with telling yourself the truth. Rock bottom is a strange place. It's painful, it's lonely, but it has one advantage. There is nowhere left to pretend. For the first time in years, Daniel stopped asking, "How can I look successful?" Instead, he asked a much more powerful question. How do people actually become wealthy? That one question changed everything. A few weeks later, Daniel met someone who completely challenged his view of money. His name was Mr. Samuel. He worked as a janitor in the same office building. He drove a 15-year-old car, wore the same simple clothes every week, packed his lunch every day. Nobody paid much attention to him. One afternoon, they started talking. Daniel complained about money, about debt, about how impossible it was to get ahead. Mr. Samuel listened quietly. Then he smiled. "I've been investing for 38 years, he said. Daniel laughed. He thought the old man was joking. Then Samuel showed him his investment account. It was worth over $1 million. Daniel stared at the screen in disbelief. The man who looked ordinary was quietly wealthier than most of the executives in the building. That day, Daniel learned something schools rarely teach. Wealth is often invisible. Looking rich and being rich are two completely different things. The next weekend, Daniel made a decision that would have shocked the old version of himself. He sold the luxury watch. He sold the designer clothes he rarely wore. He canceled subscriptions he had forgotten about. He traded his expensive apartment for a smaller one. He sold the luxury car and bought a reliable used vehicle. His friends didn't understand. Some even joked that he was downgrading. Months earlier, those comments would have crushed him. Now, they didn't matter, because Daniel had realized something. People who judge your worth by what you own were never measuring the right things to begin with. Every item he sold felt like removing another brick from the wall that had trapped him. For the first time in years, he could breathe. Daniel began noticing a pattern. The people constantly trying to look rich often had the least financial freedom. Meanwhile, the truly wealthy people he met lived surprisingly ordinary lives. They didn't chase every trend. They didn't upgrade everything they owned. They didn't buy things to impress strangers. Instead, they invested. They saved. They built businesses. They bought assets instead of status symbols. Daniel realized that real wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes, it drives an old car, lives in a modest house, wears simple clothes, because real wealth isn't about attention. It's about options. The option to retire early, the option to help family, the option to travel without debt, the option to say no to a job you hate. That's what money is really supposed to buy. Freedom. Months turned into years. Slowly, his debt disappeared. His emergency fund grew. His investments quietly compounded. His life looked less impressive online, but it felt far more peaceful in reality. He no longer checked social media every hour. He no longer compared his life to strangers. He no longer bought things because someone else owned them. Ironically, the less he cared about looking wealthy, the wealthier he actually became, because money stopped flowing into liabilities and started flowing into assets. His confidence no longer came from possessions. It came from progress. Imagine two houses. One is huge. Luxury cars fill the driveway. Designer furniture fills every room. Everyone assumes the owner is rich. But behind the front door, debt, stress, sleepless nights. The second house is much smaller. Nothing flashy. No expensive cars. No designer labels. But inside, no consumer debt. Money in savings. Investments growing. Peace of mind. Now ask yourself, which house is actually wealthy? The answer isn't visible from the street. And that's the greatest financial lesson of all. Looking rich costs money. Becoming wealthy creates it. Daniel never became famous. He never bought a private jet. He never lived in a mansion. But he gained something far more valuable. He gained control over his money, over his choices, over his future. The modern world constantly tells us to spend first and think later, to buy the image, to chase approval, to confuse consumption with success. But the truth is simpler. Every dollar you spend is a vote for the life you want to live. So ask yourself, are you buying things to build your future, or to impress people who may never think about you again? Because one day, no one will remember the phone you carried, the shoes you wore, or the car you drove. But you will remember whether you lived with freedom or with financial fear. If this story made you see money differently, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Until next time, remember, the richest person in the room is rarely the one trying hardest to look rich.